The other night were the New Hampshire primaries, and Bernie Sanders won the popular vote by about 4,000, 5,000 votes. Bernie also won the popular vote in Iowa, yet Pete Buttigieg, who has come in second in both Iowa and New Hampshire, currently has more delegates. Why is that, you may ask? Let's talk about it. Is that a hole? I have a hole in this shirt. Hey, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're doing well. I'm just in Colorado at my boyfriend's apartment, and I thought this would be a good opportunity, since the New Hampshire primaries were the other night, to actually just discuss presidential primaries in the United States. And I thought, what better thing to do on a day where I'm just sitting home alone than make some Bloody Marys and day drink by myself. So I'm gonna run to the store, then I'll come back, sit down, and drink my Bloody Mary while we discuss presidential primaries. Okay, so I'm back from the store and we have all our ingredients here. So I realized I forgot to get toothpicks, and I'm trying to garnish the Bloody Mary with the cheese and the olives. So we're gonna see what we can find in this kitchen instead. Okay, to be honest, what do we think? Should I put a fork in there and just stick some olives on it? Okay kids, this is what we call innovation. Okay, I can't drink this Bloody Mary with the huge fork in it, so I'm just gonna eat the olives. Okay, I'm gonna take it out and save that pepper jack cheese. Bloody Marys look fun, and they are when you have a straw, but I do not. Should we cheers? Clink. It's actually really good. The other night were the New Hampshire primaries, and Bernie Sanders won the popular vote by about 4,000, 5,000 votes. Bernie also won the popular vote in Iowa, yet Pete Buttigieg, who has come in second in both Iowa and New Hampshire, currently has more delegates. Why is that, you may ask? Is that a hole? I have a hole in this shirt. In the US, before we have a presidential general election, we hold what are called primary elections. And this year, since President Trump is, oh god, I hate saying that. I feel like I'm in a dystopian universe. This year, because Trump is the incumbent president and he's a Republican, there aren't any Republicans that are legitimately challenging him, so there's no Republican primary. There is, but everyone knows that Trump is gonna win because he's the incumbent. So before you can choose between Donald Trump and the Democratic candidate, you need to choose who the Democratic candidate is gonna be, and that's why we have primary elections. Right now, the primary field for the Democratic Party consists of Bernie Sanders, Pete Buttigieg, Elizabeth Warren, Amy Klobuchar, former Vice President Joe Biden, Tom Steyer, Mike Bloomberg, also Tulsi Gabbard is still running, I believe. So each state has, oh my god, the air conditioning just turned on. So good. So certain states go first in the primary process. Iowa and New Hampshire are the first states to vote. The states actually have laws that say they have to be the first states to vote. A lot of people want there to be just one national primary voting day for all of the states, and here's why. The earlier states pretty much decide the rest of the primary election. The candidates that win in Iowa and New Hampshire typically go on to do better than the ones that don't, and that's because if you win in Iowa and New Hampshire, you are the first win of the season, and that means you're gonna get a bunch of media coverage and a bunch of momentum in your campaign. You're gonna have a bunch of donations coming in, meaning you can afford more advertising. So all in all, you just have it made if you win Iowa and New Hampshire. And that's why there's actually never been a candidate in recent memory that has won both Iowa and New Hampshire and not gone on to be the nomination. Right now, the candidate that has won the popular vote in both Iowa and New Hampshire has been Bernie Sanders. And the person that has come in second in both those states has been Pete Buttigieg, who actually has slightly more delegates right now than Bernie Sanders. So yeah, Iowa and New Hampshire go first, then it's Nevada, and then South Carolina, and then a large portion of states vote on March 3rd, which is often referred to as Super Tuesday, simply because there's so many states voting. And honestly, after Super Tuesday, it's pretty much decided by that point. There's like some mathematical situations that make it impossible for some candidates to continue if they don't get enough delegates after Super Tuesday. So that's when shit gets real. Let's talk about delegates for a second, because boy oh boy do they spark some controversy. I like my Bloody Marys as spicy as Bernie's moves on the basketball court. According to Wikipedia, a delegate is a person selected to represent a group of people in some political assembly. The Democratic Party uses a proportional representation to determine how many delegates each candidate is awarded in each state. Even though Iowa is the first state to go in the primary season, the state itself doesn't have that big of a population compared to some other states, so they actually don't have a huge amount of delegates to award to candidates. So right now, after New Hampshire and Iowa, Bernie Sanders has 21 delegates while Pete Buttigieg has 23 delegates. So even though Bernie is winning, Pete Buttigieg is actually winning where it counts, which is sad to me because I'm a Bernie stan. So to decide who's actually going to win the party's nomination, there is what's called the National Convention that's held in the summer right before the general presidential election, and each state's delegates attend the convention. And that's where the nominee actually gets decided. So the candidate that has the most delegates in the end wins the nomination. It's pretty much like one vote does not equal one vote equals delegates in my county or precinct, please
go for my candidate at the convention.
Something like that. I'm drinking vodka here. I don't know if my explanations are making sense. Think about how general elections work. In the last presidential race in 2016, Hillary Clinton actually got about 3 million more votes than Donald Trump, and yet Donald Trump won the presidency, obviously, and that's because he won the Electoral College vote. The Democratic and Republican parties do delegates slightly differently. I'm just gonna read to you what it says on Wikipedia about each party's delegate situation. It says, the Democratic Party uses pledged delegates and superdelegates. A candidate for the Democratic nomination must win a majority of combined delegate votes at the Democratic National Convention. Pledged delegates are elected or chosen at the state or local level with the understanding that they will support a particular candidate at the convention. Pledged delegates are, however, not actually bound to vote for that candidate. Thus, the candidates are allowed to periodically review the list of delegates and eliminate any of those they feel would not be supportive. Currently, there are 4,051 pledged delegates. Of the 4,765 total Democratic delegates, 714, approximately 15%, are superdelegates, which are usually Democratic members of Congress, governors, former presidents, and other party leaders and elected officials. They are not required to indicate preference for a candidate. A candidate must win at least 15% of the primary vote in order to receive any delegates. There is no process to win superdelegates, since they can vote for whomever they please. A candidate needs to win a simple majority of total delegates to earn the Democratic nomination. You might be thinking, these superdelegates sound kind of like
anti-democratic?
And that's what a lot of people actually think. A lot of people want to get rid of superdelegates because they can vote for whoever they want, pretty much. And yeah, they're supposed to vote for whoever's the clear choice for their state, but they don't have to. So they have the option of ignoring the will of the people in their state in favor of the candidate that they think will be best for the country. And I'll just read a little bit of the Republican Party delegate process. The Republican Party utilizes a similar system with slightly different terminology, employing pledged and unpledged delegates. Of the total 2,472 Republican delegates, most are pledged delegates who, as with the Democratic Party, are elected at the state or local level. To become the Republican Party nominee, the candidate must win a simple majority of 1,237 of the 2,472 total delegates at the Republican National Convention. The only people who get unpledged status are each state's 3 Republican National Committee members. This means that unpledged delegates are only 168 of the total number of delegates. However, unpledged delegates do not have the freedom to vote for whichever candidate they please. The RNC, that's the Republican National Committee, ruled in 2015 that the unpledged delegates must vote for the candidate that their state voted for. The unpledged RNC members will be bound in the same manner as the state's at-large delegates unless the state elects their delegates on the primary ballot. Then all 3 RNC members will be allocated to the statewide winner. So basically, for this presidential race in 2020, the primary season for Democrats has already begun. The next one is going to be Nevada on February 22nd. They'll all end by early June, and then this summer will be the Democratic National Convention, and then we'll know who out of the Democratic field will be facing Donald Trump in the general election in November. I hope this made sense. I know the primary process is a little confusing, and we didn't even get into caucuses, which are the kinds of primary elections that Iowa and Nevada hold. That's a whole other issue though, and hopefully after this cycle, caucuses will be eliminated and we will just have straight up primaries in every state. Fingers crossed. If you have any questions, please comment down below. If you enjoyed this video or learned anything, I really hope that you will share it with your friends or anyone you know who is a little bit confused about the primary process. Also, in the video description, I'm going to leave the exact dates of every state's primary so that you can just quickly look, check when your state's primary is, and then prepare accordingly. Thanks so much for watching. Let me just finish my Bloody Mary really fast. Okay, we're down to the pepper, so I'm not gonna drink that part. I hope some of you were day drinking along with me. See you guys next time. Bye!